Out of all the cases I've covered on this channel, this one easily ranks among the most disturbing. There's no graphic footage or crime scene imagery in today's episode, but the events themselves are deeply upsetting, especially the final moments. So please consider this your viewer discretion warning. Now, if you're someone who enjoys true stories that explore the strange, the dark, and the deeply unsettling, told in a narrative format, then you're in the right place. That's what we do here, and we post new stories once or twice a week. If that sounds like your thing, go ahead and gently tap the like button, make sure you're subscribed, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. All right, let's get into it. In 1986, a 39-year-old probation officer named Tom Hawks attended a chili cook-off in Newport Beach, California, with his two teenage sons. Tom had recently divorced their mother, and while he was focused on raising his boys, he wasn't necessarily looking for love. But that afternoon, across a crowded lawn filled with families and folding chairs, he noticed someone, a woman he had never seen before. She was striking. Tom realized he had been staring a little too long when she caught his eye, smiled, and shyly looked away. Embarrassed but determined, Tom walked over and introduced himself. Her name was Jackie. She was 29, warm, outgoing, and instantly easy to talk to. The connection was immediate. Over the next few years, their relationship deepened. In 1989, they were married in front of 150 friends and family members. Jackie moved into Tom's home and became a steady, loving presence in the lives of his two sons. Though their biological mother was still part of their world, the boys eventually began calling Jackie Mom, not because anyone forced them to, but because she earned it. Years earlier, when Jackie was 22, she had survived a devastating motorcycle accident that left her unable to have children. Becoming a stepmother filled a space in her heart she had long feared would remain empty. She embraced the role fully. For over a decade, Tom and Jackie built a life centered around family. Then, in 2002, both sons had grown and moved out. The house felt quiet, but Tom and Jackie had been preparing for this moment. They had a plan. For years, they had carefully saved money with one shared dream: retire early, buy a boat, and live at sea. Not a luxury yacht, just something seaworthy, something that would allow them to sail up and down the California and Mexican coastline. After selling their home in Newport Beach, they pooled the proceeds with their savings and purchased a modest, somewhat worn yacht. They named it Well Deserved, and to them it truly was. They renovated it themselves, cleaned it top to bottom, and made it feel like home. Soon, they were living the life they had imagined, watching sunsets from the deck, fishing in open water, enjoying a freedom they had worked decades to earn. For 2 years, it was everything they hoped it would be. Then, in 2004, their world shifted again, this time with joyful news. One of their sons was expecting a baby. Tom and Jackie were going to be grandparents. For Jackie especially, this meant everything. As much as they loved life at sea, they decided it was time to return to land. They would sell the boat and move closer to their growing family. In November 2004, they listed the Well Deserved for sale in a boating magazine, asking roughly $500,000. Before long, a young couple expressed serious interest. Their names were Skylar and Jennifer DeLeon. The deal moved quickly. Tom and Jackie called their sons to share the news. The sale was nearly complete. Soon, they'd be home. But after that call, something strange happened. Silence. Days passed. No one heard from them. Calls went unanswered. This was completely out of character. Tom's brother Jim, a retired police chief, drove to Newport Beach himself. He went straight to the marina. The Well Deserved was there, but something felt off. Lines were left loosely hanging over the side. Tom was meticulous. He wouldn't have done that. Panels were uncovered, towels were left draped awkwardly from a porthole. It didn't look like Tom and Jackie's boat anymore. Jim left his business card on board. Shortly after, he received a call from Jennifer DeLeon. She explained that she and her husband had purchased the yacht. She claimed the Hawks had taken the cash, signed paperwork, and driven off. She even mentioned she had been trying to contact them herself to ask about some boat controls. But when Jim checked with the family's financial manager, he learned something chilling. No large deposit had ever been made. Nearly $500,000 was missing. At that point, police in Newport Beach were contacted, and a missing persons investigation began. Background checks revealed that 25-year-old Skylar DeLeon had a criminal past, including a conviction for armed robbery. Suspicion grew. Initially, the DeLeons stuck to their story. A notary and a friend of Skylar's even backed it up, claiming they witnessed the transaction. But inconsistencies began piling up. The Hawks' SUV was later discovered in Mexico, not with Tom and Jackie, but in the possession of someone connected to Skylar. Police arrested him on money laundering charges after he admitted the cash used for the purchase had been stolen drug money. When investigators searched his home, they found personal belongings that clearly belonged to Tom and Jackie, including their video camera. Under intense questioning, the notary admitted she had falsified documents. Then, finally, Skylar's associate, Alonzo Machan, confessed there had been no legitimate sale that day. Instead, on November 15, 2004, Tom and Jackie had agreed to a sea trial, a test run of the boat. Skylar brought along 2 accomplices. Jennifer arrived briefly with her baby daughter, deliberately putting the Hawks at ease. Once out at sea, far from shore, Tom and Jackie were overpowered. They were restrained, forced to sign documents transferring ownership of the boat and access to their bank accounts. Then, in the deepest part of the ocean, they were brought to the back deck. An anchor was chained to their handcuffs, and they were thrown overboard, alive. The ocean floor below them was roughly 3,500 feet down. Their bodies were never recovered. In a final act of cruelty, investigators discovered that the DeLeons had recorded over the Hawks' personal video footage, taping their own family holiday days after the murders, as if nothing had happened. In the end, Alonzo Machan received 20 years in prison for cooperating, Jennifer DeLeon sentenced to life without parole. Skylar DeLeon and John Fitzgerald Kennedy were sentenced to death. Tom and Jackie Hawks had spent decades building a life defined by love, patience, and hard work. Their retirement was supposed to be peaceful. Instead, it became one of the most haunting crimes in modern California history. If you found this story meaningful or impactful, consider supporting the channel by liking and subscribing. It genuinely helps more than you might think. And as always, thank you for being here. Until next time.